Older adults should eat more protein to maintain muscle. Older people need to consume more protein-rich foods to protect their muscles. Eating more protein helps slow down muscle loss and increases leg strength. Sure, you, like many other older adults out there, have heard advice like that, and then everyone starts eating more eggs, chicken, salmon, and bananas to add protein. Some even go further and buy protein powders to drink every morning. But have you noticed something? After a while of eating like that, sadly, nothing has changed. You still get up slowly. Climbing 10 steps still leaves you out of breath. Your calves and arms don't get any bigger, even if you've gained a little weight. And it seems like your belly has gotten even bigger than before. So why is that? Watch this entire video with me to understand the truth about protein and muscle in older adults. This video will help you clearly understand the real relationship between protein and muscle. Especially at the end, I'll reveal the most effective and safest way to protect your muscles as you age. The content in this video is based on a 2-year study by Harvard researchers involving more than 1,000 older adults. To make it easier to follow, I've broken the information down into numbered sections 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get started. 1. The relationship between protein intake and lean body mass in older adults. First, you need to understand that lean body mass, that is, muscle, bones, and other non-fat tissues, plays a critical role in the health and mobility of older adults. One key factor, closely related to maintaining lean body mass, is the amount of protein we consume daily. Studies show that people who don't meet the recommended dietary allowance, RDA, for protein, which is 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day, often have lower lean body mass. On the other hand, those who consume protein above the RDA tend to have a higher percentage of lean mass in their total body weight. This is especially important in older adults, as the natural aging process reduces both muscle mass and strength, leading to frailty, decreased mobility, and a higher risk of falling. However, it's important to note that this relationship is currently only correlational, meaning these two factors happen together, but we can't say for sure that protein directly causes an increase in muscle. Other elements like exercise, hormones, medical conditions, and daily habits can also affect lean body mass. Still, ensuring an adequate amount of daily protein intake, and better yet, slightly exceeding the RDA, is a reasonable recommendation, especially when combined with proper exercise. This is a safe and effective step in supporting muscle health in older adults. 2. Does increasing protein help older adults get stronger? For years, people have asked, should older adults eat more protein than what's currently recommended? With the goal of staying healthy, preventing muscle loss, and maintaining mobility, many older adults have turned to protein powders, supplements, or high-protein diets. But does that actually work? A large-scale study conducted by researchers at Harvard University has helped shed more light on this. They selected older men with moderate physical function, not too frail, but not particularly strong either, and randomly divided them into 2 groups. The first group followed the current RDA, around 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. That's about 50 to 60 grams for someone weighing 60 to 70 kilograms. The second group increased their protein intake to 1.3 grams per kilogram per day, much higher than the standard recommendation. The protein was provided through regular foods as well as whey and casein protein powders, 2 common types of protein supplements. After 6 months, the results were quite surprising. There was no significant difference between the 2 groups. No one gained noticeable muscle. No one walked faster, climbed stairs better, or felt less tired. Even measures like hand and leg strength, flexibility, or overall sense of well-being showed no change. This leads to an important conclusion. For older adults in relatively stable health, the current protein recommendation of 0.8 grams per kilogram per day is sufficient to maintain lean body mass. Increasing protein alone doesn't bring clear benefits unless it's paired with other factors, such as physical exercise or treatment of underlying conditions. The takeaway for older adults: eating enough protein is important, but eating too much may not be any better. Focus instead on a balanced diet combined with appropriate physical activity to take care of your body in a holistic way. If you're still watching this video and find the information helpful, comment the number 2 below so I know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I highly recommend you hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any future videos. Your support helps us keep creating high-quality content to inform and inspire you. Now let's keep going. 3. Understanding lean muscle gain correctly. When people talk about lean body mass, many immediately think of firm biceps, muscular calves, or a strong physique. But the reality isn't that simple, especially for older adults. Some studies show that when seniors consume twice the recommended amount of protein, i.e., more than 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight per day, they can significantly increase their lean body mass. However, upon closer inspection using advanced imaging tools like CT scans, scientists discovered something surprising. The added mass didn't come from arm or leg muscles, but was mostly concentrated in the torso. Why is that? The aging body undergoes many physiological changes. When consuming a high-protein diet, the liver and kidneys, two key organs that process protein, can enlarge to meet the increased metabolic demand. Additionally, the body may retain more water in the tissues, leading to an increase in lean mass even though actual muscle growth hasn't occurred. In other words, the measured lean mass includes not only muscle but also internal organs, fluids, and other non-fat tissues. This leads to a crucial realization: gaining lean mass does not necessarily mean gaining real muscle. We need to be cautious when evaluating the effectiveness of high-protein diets. Without appropriate physical activity, like resistance training or regular walking, excess protein will not help strengthen muscles or improve mobility. Worse, in some individuals with compromised liver or kidney function, consuming too much protein can actually burden the body. So here's the advice: eat enough, but don't overdo it. 4. When long-term reality speaks, is high-protein intake really effective? In medicine, there's a saying, what works in the short term may not work in the long term. And that's especially true in the case of protein and older adults. Many believe that simply getting enough protein, sometimes the more, the better, can prevent muscle loss and maintain agility and strength in old age. However, when researchers conducted long-term studies, they discovered a different truth. One notable year-long study used MRI scans, a highly accurate tool to measure muscle mass and quality. Participants were divided into groups. Some exercised, some did not, some took whey protein, a high-quality protein supplement, and others didn't. Interestingly, the study was funded by a whey protein company, but the results were disappointing. No group showed significant benefits in lean mass or strength. In other words, whether participants took whey or not, exercised or not, after 12 months, there were no meaningful physiological differences between the groups. And more importantly, the results weren't beautified by the sponsor, showing admirable objectivity. Another study lasting 2 years, far longer than most nutrition trials, also showed that consuming more protein than the recommended amount did not clearly lead to increased muscle mass or improved physical function in older adults. From this, experts have drawn a cautious conclusion. Consuming more protein than the RDA, 0.8 grams per kilogram per day, does not automatically make you stronger, quicker, or more muscular, unless combined with a healthy lifestyle and regular physical activity. As one geriatrician once said, protein isn't a miracle, it's just one brick in the house of health. And to keep that house sturdy, you need a foundation of exercise, sleep, disease management, and mental peace. If you're still watching this video and found the information useful, please comment with the number 6 below so I know you're still with us. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I encourage you to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. Your support helps us continue creating valuable content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's continue. 5. The truth from research reviews. Protein isn't a magic fix without exercise. At this point, many people may start wondering, so should I be adding more protein to my diet or not? The answer, as with most things in medicine, isn't simple. But one thing is clear: if you don't exercise, eating more protein won't do much for your muscles. Scientists have conducted meta-analyses of the dozens of studies examining the effects of protein supplementation in older adults, a serious and comprehensive approach to get the big picture. The results consistently show, if you simply sit around and drink protein-enriched milk or eat more eggs and meat, your body won't magically get stronger or more muscular. There's no significant improvement in lean body mass or limb strength, even when the protein intake exceeds the recommended dietary allowance, RDA. Due to aging and hormonal decline, older bodies no longer respond to protein the same way as younger ones. Interestingly, when protein is combined with resistance training, such as lightweight lifting, resistance band exercises, or bodyweight workouts, there is a modest improvement. On average, studies show an increase of about 0.23 kilograms, roughly half a pound of lean mass after several months. However, even with this gain, functional abilities like getting up from a chair, climbing stairs, or walking faster don't improve significantly. In other words, protein is like fuel, but if the engine isn't started, meaning there is no physical activity or mechanical stimulation, the fuel won't help you run better. That's why my advice to older patients is make sure you get enough protein, not too much, but don't skimp either. More importantly, move your body every day. Gentle, age-appropriate resistance exercises paired with a balanced diet are what truly help maintain muscle strength and the independence as you age. That's the key, not just to living longer, but living healthier and more independently. 6. After 70, exercise remains the key. Don't rely too heavily on protein. By the time you're over 70, your body enters what scientists call a functional turning point. This is when everything noticeably slows down. Muscles weaken more rapidly, balance worsens, and the risk of falls increases. But here's the good news. Exercise still works, sometimes remarkably well. Many studies designed specifically for this age group have shown that people in their 70s, even 80s and 90s, can significantly increase their muscle strength through resistance training, even if they were previously inactive. Simple exercises like chair rises, step-ups, lightweight pushing, or using resistance bands can yield surprisingly positive results. The issue is this: adding extra protein to the diet of people over 70, whether from food or supplements, does not lead to additional muscle gain or improved physical function. Scientists have tested exercise programs with and without protein supplementation and followed up after a few months. The outcome? Both groups improved equally in strength and mobility, and there was no meaningful difference in muscle mass gains. In other words, exercise is the main driver of improvement. If your diet already includes enough protein, adding more won't make much of a difference. To my older patients, I often say, don't assume that eating more protein is enough. No pill can replace the benefits of standing up and moving every day. You might be 80 with weaker legs and a curved back, but your body still has the potential to regain some function, not through high-protein milkshakes, but through consistent, proper and daily exercise. The biggest difference between an elderly person who can still go grocery shopping and one who needs a wheelchair isn't how many grams of protein they eat. It's how many times they stand up, walk forward, and stay active in life. Protein is just the assistant. Willpower and movement are the true doctors of old age. 7. For the frail elderly, you can't rely on nutrition drinks or protein alone to improve their condition. When an older adult becomes frail, in other words, physically weak and vulnerable, we're talking about a state of overall decline, muscle wasting, difficulty walking, weakened immunity, frequent falls, fatigue, and often a need for help with daily activities. In this group, families and doctors are often deeply concerned. How can they recover? Should we add more protein, ensure, or other specialized nutrition? Unfortunately, the answer is not very promising. In many studies on frail older adults, especially those who are already physically impaired, living in nursing homes, or recently discharged from a long hospital stay, experts have tested nutritional supplements rich in protein such as Ensure, Boost, or Whey protein powders. However, there is no reliable evidence that these supplements significantly improve muscle strength, mobility, brain function, or reduce the risk of death. A major meta-analysis, a study combining results from multiple large studies involving thousands of older adults with sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, also came to a striking conclusion. Protein supplementation in any form does not lead to clear functional or physical improvements. This doesn't mean that protein isn't important, but if you rely solely on nutrition drinks without combining them with physical rehabilitation, therapy, or holistic care, the benefits will be extremely limited. As a doctor, I often tell families, Ensure is not a miracle. If your loved one is becoming weak, don't think that just drinking milk will make them strong again. They need gentle movement every day, encouragement to get out of bed, conversation, assistance to take a few steps, and emotional as well as physical recovery. Protein can help if the body is still capable of responding, but for the frail elderly, the key doesn't lie in the milk glass. It lies in the supportive hands and patient heart of the caregiver. If you're still watching this video and finding the information helpful, please comment the number 8 below so I know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I encourage you to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Your support helps us continue to create quality content to inform and inspire you. Now let's keep going. 8. Only resistance training. Truly works. Protein isn't a magic bullet. When it comes to maintaining healthy muscles in older adults, many people immediately think of protein, supplement shakes, or muscle-building powders. But science has consistently emphasized one thing. Without exercise, especially resistance training, all those supplements are nearly useless. Let's look at a large-scale study published in 2021. In this study, scientists followed hundreds of older adults divided into several groups. A group that did resistance training combined with whey protein, a group with soy protein, a group using creatine, and a group taking cornstarch as a placebo. All groups trained diligently for more than 16 weeks. And the result? There were no significant differences between the groups. Whether it was whey, soy, or creatine, the results were no better than the group taking cornstarch. The real factor that made a difference was resistance training itself, not what they consumed. Furthermore, a year-long study with follow-up over 43 months in people aged 75 and above also found that excess protein supplementation didn't slow muscle loss over time. Even if you eat more than the recommended daily amount, RDI, if you don't exercise, your body will still get weaker. As a doctor, I often say to my patients, no type of protein can replace doing 5 push-ups a day, walking for 10 minutes, or standing up and sitting down 10 times from your living room chair. That's the real tonic your body needs. Many older adults think they're too old to exercise, but let me emphasize, because you're old, you must exercise, and you don't need a gym. All it takes is a sturdy pair of slippers, a solid chair, and a little perseverance each day, and you're investing in your own longevity. 9. Important warning about protein powders. Nowadays, the market is flooded with all kinds of protein powders in every flavor imaginable, with appealing promises like fast muscle gain, perfect shape, or ageless vitality. Many older adults believe that to maintain strong muscles, they need to rely on these products to compensate for a lacking diet. However, the reality is not that simple. According to a report by Consumer Reports, a trusted organization that tests consumer products, Many popular protein powders on the market contain heavy metals such as mercury, lead, cadmium, or arsenic. These are highly toxic substances that, if accumulated in the body over time, can damage the kidneys, liver, and increase the risk of cancer. Why are heavy metals found in protein powders? The culprit often lies in impure raw materials or poorly controlled manufacturing processes. This is especially dangerous for older adults whose detoxifying organs like the liver and kidneys are less efficient compared to younger individuals. So not only may you not need extra protein supplements, but by consuming unchecked protein powders, you might be unknowingly introducing harmful heavy metals into your body. That's a risk not worth taking, especially when your goal is to stay healthy and age gracefully. Here's my advice. Prioritize natural, protein-rich foods like lean meats, fish, eggs, legumes, and fresh milk. Avoid relying on protein powders or supplements unless specifically advised by a doctor or registered dietitian. If you do choose to use them, go for reputable brands that are safety tested and avoid long-term or excessive use. As you can see, eating more protein isn't a miracle cure for aging muscles. Contrary to popular belief, long-term, well-conducted studies have shown that without appropriate physical activity, protein supplementation alone does not produce the desired results. You might gain a little weight, but it won't necessarily be muscle. And more disappointingly, the true markers of vitality in old age, strength, flexibility, and mobility will remain unchanged. The truth is, eating enough protein is just one piece of the bigger picture. To protect your muscles and keep your legs strong over the years, older adults need a balanced approach. That means eating right, exercising regularly, resting adequately, and monitoring health consistently. A high-protein diet only delivers real benefits when it's combined with physical activity like brisk walking, gentle resistance training, or age-appropriate yoga. So if you've been frustrated by eating plenty of protein but still feeling weak, don't give up. Start today with a new approach that is more scientific, more sustainable, and ultimately more effective. Tap subscribe to follow the channel so you won't miss the next part, and share this video with someone you care about. See you in the next video.